Hi, we are ready with our second episode of Captain's Corner. Today also we're going to be discussing a subject on which we've got queries and questions. Something a lot of people are always curious to know is, where do aircrafts store the fuel that they require for the flight? So, like in your car, you've got a fuel tank which normally is below your boot, and you know the capacity of the fuel tank. But in an aircraft, the fuel is not stored in the fuselage. The fuselage is this entire region of the aircraft, or in its belly. It's not stored there. It is actually stored in the wings. So the fuel tanks are actually in the wings of an aircraft. Now, what are the reasons for having the fuel tanks in the wings? One reason, of course, is commercial. The other is technical. And I'd say that the third one is from a safety perspective also. So let's first look at the commercial aspect, which is so easy for us to understand. Having fuel, and that too so much, these aircrafts are flying longer these days. Of course, they've got much fuel efficient engines. So typically, Boeing 777 on a long haul flight will be polluting about 145-150 tons of fuel. 140-50 tons of fuel. That actually translates to about 180,000 liters. With this kind of weight, which is being taken by the fuel, if you have to have the tank somewhere in the belly, it would obviously mean that the payload or the revenue generating amount is going to be lesser, because you're going to be having to compromise either passengers or cargo, right? So you don't want that to happen. So the solution is put it somewhere else while retaining cargo and passenger space. That's one thing. Second aspect is the technical aspect. Now, the technical aspect is this, that if you look at the wings of this aircraft, and if you see an aircraft in flight, you'll always feel that these are thin structures, which they actually are not. What happens is, these wings have to produce sufficient lift so that the entire aircraft is able to take off and sustain flight. The wings have something called a center of lift. Of course, this is getting a little technical, which I didn't want to, but the fact is that if there's a lot of weight near the center of lift, it helps generating lift a lot more easier than if the weight is concentrated away. Now, obviously, the weight of the aircraft, the payload itself, the passengers and the cargo, are a little bit away from the center of lift, but that can't be helped, because we also need a certain amount of wing area to produce the lift to keep this aircraft in the air. Now, the other reason is, these wings in flight will tend to flutter. Flutter is the vibration which is caused by the oncoming air and disturbances. If you have weight here in these wings, the flutter is going to be a lot less. So these are also the technical reasons why the fuel is stored in the wings of the aircraft. The wings becoming heavier also mean that when they have to support this particular payload, becomes easier. And the third aspect is that if you have a crash landing, if there's fire after the aircraft lands, then having fuel away from the passenger cabin is always going to be far safer. And we've seen a number of videos where the engine has caught fire, the wing catches fire. So by the time the fumes and the fire engulfs the entire aircraft, evacuation can be done, which would not have been possible had the fuel been stored in the belly of the aircraft, right? So these are the three typical reasons why fuel is stored in the wings of the aircraft, right? So friends, next time we will have some other topic of general interest, and we'll get a little more technical also as we go forward. Thank you so much for watching this. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this video. Thank you.